we talk about a few issues. It's really nice to see that Manitoba people have re-elected a strong, progressive, and reliable, responsible leadership. And I really want to congratulate you on this one, working for families. So we discussed a few issues like the youth program for Aboriginal, and we really support the position you took on this one, and we want to rely this to Mr. Harper. As well, we discuss a lot about the flood issue, what is happening here, and to make sure that it's going on, that we respond to the need of people and your party on this issue. So the last one I asked about your hockey team, the Jets. I know you have tonight a big hockey game against the former club, so it's really nice.
Should be interesting.
I hope that they will win.
Madame Turmel, how long are you here?
I'm just in and out. I came in this morning. I met with the Wheat Board Commission, and we are trying to help them to make sure that we keep the Wheat Board. So that was one issue. And now we're meeting with the Premier to meet about issues that they are really strong here in Manitoba, representing the NDP and representing people from here, citizens and families.
Did you discuss the diversion channel from Lake Manitoba, and do you support the call for the federal government to pay for 90% of that?
Yes, we support this, and we support the position of the government here to have a national strategy on flood issues or disaster. So we discuss a lot, and he explained to me with the map. So it was great to see that and to see what you can do and what the federal can do to make sure that we prevent a disaster like this.
And so you support the federal government funding 90% of things that might be deemed mitigation?
That we support this. We support to have a national strategy, and then
Be careful. Steve's being clever here.
Well, yes.
It's an emergency outlet.
Yes.
The channel's done on an emergency basis, Steve. On the mitigation, we've agreed that there would be 50-50, but the channel was an emergency because over 1,000 people were dislocated from their homes, and we have to try to get them at home as quickly as possible.
So you don't see it as a mitigation project?
We see it as an emergency project, like any disaster financial assistance project. It's after the dislocation has occurred, and we're putting in measures in place to allow people to get home.
Okay. And have you received any response from the federal?
No, we haven't. They're still considering it. They know what we're doing. They're fully briefed on it. And of course, we've already got an agreement in principle for 50-50 on mitigation projects.
And Premier Selinger, what will the NDP in Ottawa be doing to help you here get what you want?
Well, I met with the Prime Minister last week at the Jets hockey game. I'm very pleased that the interim leader, Nycole, has come out to meet us from the official opposition because we all share the same concerns. We want to get people home as quickly as possible related to the flood. On Aboriginal education, we want young people to get a chance to complete high school and get post-secondary education. And all of those things, we appreciate all political parties in Ottawa supporting us on that and working to what's best for Canadians. And we know that a disaster mitigation program on flooding and other natural disasters will not only solve a lot of distress in people's lives, but it'll save taxpayers money. You won't have people out of their homes. You won't have to repair all those homes and all those communities if you prevent people from getting flooded out, as you know, because you've covered this with us many times. So these are kinds of smart policies. And we've got an agreement in principle to do a national disaster mitigation program. We'd like to get on with the discussion and put it in place for next spring. For the whole country. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the formula is fixed, the funding formula is fixed under disaster financial assistance.
At the 90-10.
So is the hiccup with Ottawa regarding the Lake St. Martin channel, whether they recognize it?
That's the issue, yeah, whether they consider it an emergency project under the disaster financial assistance program. And as you know, it occurred after the people were dislocated. It wasn't done ahead of time to mitigate. It was done to relieve the tremendous dislocation of those people there. And there are still 1,000 people away from their communities. And that's why we're proceeding on it as rapidly as possible to build it. Right.
Do you mind if I just get your thought on the Occupy Manitoba protest that's going on outside on the steps of the legislature?
Well, they were here, and they've really raised their concerns about the financial institutions being accountable to the citizens, not only of Canada, but of the world for the way they do their business and causing instability in our economies. And so I think that their concerns are constructive. and they're trying to make sure that these things don't happen again. And we can see right now, there's tremendous financial instability in Europe right now. So for young people to rally to these very complex questions of globalization and how we can ensure that we have stable economies so people can make a livelihood and support their families seems to me to be a healthy democratic tendency for young people.
Domestically, though, the issues are a little bit different in Canada than the U.S. There were no bank bailouts.
Yes.
The income disparity is less.
Yes, but they're addressing the concern as citizens not only of Canada, but of the world. And we saw, I mean, if we hadn't worked together as provinces and the federal government in the 2008 recession, there would be a lot more unemployment and a lot more economic despair among Canadians. So we rallied in a massive way to prevent that recession from getting as bad as it could have been. And we had a major impact even in our country, but we did well in responding to it. And so for Canadians to rally and say they want to make sure these things don't happen again, I consider to be a constructive approach.
But even in Canada, when you look at the unemployment rate going up, pension plans right now that are at stake. So we see that in Canada too. So they want, and I can understand their point, they want to make sure that it doesn't happen, but as well that this government, this Harper government, look at the economy. And when they say they look at the economy, at the same time, they don't have a plan to make sure that we don't go into a big recession like we did in 2008.
Okay, anything else? Thanks a lot, folks.
That's it.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.